I'm so excited because I have someone who has always been behind the camera with me today. This is the man who has been putting together all of my real estate content, videos with my family. So I want to introduce you guys to Eric with Lid Media. What's up, Eric?
What's up? What's up?
Behind the scenes, we always have conversations about entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
And so we've had conversations about now actually putting it in front of the camera. So I wanted to talk about like some things in your business that you see that have been struggles for you.
Yeah.
How you started out in your business and how you've grown to where you are today.
So what's like the main question? Like, what is the struggles?
Yeah.
The struggles, I mean, I think the struggle is just any of it really. If you're going to be honest with yourself, and this is one of the things that my dad used to always tell me, is that if you're not cleaning up poop, then you don't have a barn. Right. And I think it's a really good analogy that like when you own a business, you're getting paid to deal with the things that other people either can't, they don't have the skill set or the intelligence or whatever it might be. I mean, I don't want to like trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but it's like, a doctor still has to do surgery, and they had to go through a major grind to be able to get that skill set, which I think people are capable of a lot of things. We just have different skills. But so like really, we were talking about this earlier too, is that, you hear the terminology all the time is like, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I'm like, that's a lie. Like, I love what I do.
Every day, every second, minute, hour, all of it.
Yeah, I work more doing what I love every day. But, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. I get it. I get what they're saying. But it's still, at the end of the day, it's still work.
Yeah.
And a dream job is still a job, and you still have to grind out. But the reward at the end could definitely be a lot greater.
Yeah.
Definitely be a lot greater.
So give us a little background. How long has Lid Media been in business?
Lid Media has been in business for about 2 years. I have been in the industry on and off for over 16 years.
Ooh.
Over 16 years. And it just being a passion of mine for over 20 years. So yeah, I love doing this kind of stuff. Definitely love like just really anything media. I really enjoy it.
So what made you start Lid Media?
So what made me start Lid Media? Okay. So, back in the day, I did try to freelance, and that was had its struggles on its own, like not having the money to invest in proper gear and things like that. But also I didn't really have a lot of direction. I was like, I like doing this, and so I did it. And so over the years, I worked for several companies, marketing companies, production companies and things like that. And I just noticed, I was like, the small and micro business industry is so underserved.
Yeah.
Like I'm like they're being swallowed up, and it really is. As an entrepreneur, I get it as well because I deal with the same thing, but it's like you're either going to make it or you're going to die, right? Like it's either going to happen or it's not. And if you look up the statistics of like how long a business will last before it dies, it's at least within 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's also very common. The percentage of people being successful in this is really, really low. And I don't really think that that's so much of a like whether they have a good idea or not. I think it's a planning issue, right? Like, or even what you're offering is really a big part of it too. But, I'm going to give a lot of the wisdom that my dad would tell me. He used to he drilled this in my head so much. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
Yeah.
And so like, we're talking about like doing like business plans and things like that,
yeah.
Which I had no idea what that was, but I do think that it's really relevant and important, even if it's just for your sake, right? Like you don't have to go to investors all the time, especially today with so many access on things. You don't have to go to investors to have a business plan, but if you do go to investors, it's probably best to have a business plan because they're going to want to know, okay, what is your total accessible market, your TAM? What are you offering? How are you going to offer it? How are you going to make a profit? Because everybody's going to look at all these different options of like, okay, like, yeah, you're going to bring in this much revenue, but what do you have left over?
Yeah.
What's left over? And is what you're offering going to be very good for them? So kind of going back to the beginning of that question of like, what inspired me to be in it is like, it's that it was such an underserved market because all the companies that I worked for and what I noticed in other companies is that they're always trying to go up. They want to make more money and that's great. I'm like, man, there's this whole uncapped market and it's like, it's for the taking because nobody's willing to take the grind into it.
So what companies were you working for prior?
Well, I don't want to give a bunch of names, but I worked.
Well, yeah, don't say it, but like what industries?
Oh, I worked for quite a bit of independent companies. But if you're talking about like actual marketing companies, things like that, like I did work for Fox for a period of time for a couple of years. I worked for a local production company called Echo 360 until they shut that down. And then, quite a few, I worked for a couple of local industries. So like nothing like mass marketing or anything like that. It's all on the local level is really where even Fox was at a local level. So
for your micro businesses, like what's the most intriguing business that you currently are working with right now?
Okay, so that's kind of an unfair question because honestly, like I really have a passion for entrepreneurship, which is why we've really developed more of a mission instead of just like a great business plan, which I do think that we have a great business plan. And really going for the greatest struggle is really just finding people who want to work. That's a struggle. Selling is not, like having a good product is not, like it's all been good. It's just finding other people that actually will are willing to work hard, willing to grow. And I get that, like as an entrepreneur, nobody, like I can't expect everybody to have the same passion as I have, but you got the big topic of quiet quitting. Please just quiet quit for me. I just want you to do what I'm asking you to do. I'm not expecting you to work over hours and things like that. But it's really just like, I feel like there's been a very high lack of like desire to grow or even just be intentional in your workplace. Yeah. And it's a struggle. And all the people that I talk to, they face the same issues. It's not just me, it's everywhere. And so, but I do think that if we just continue to grind and push forward and really like, a big goal of ours is to inspire people to actually put heart into it. And I really believe that's going to help our country grow because our mission is to help out the economy with what we can. Yeah. If we can help provide a really good service that really focuses taking that workload off of social media, because we all know that social media is such a huge portion, especially for a small business who doesn't have all this money for marketing, branding, or even an understanding of those things. They go, oh God, we gotta do something. And so we've really created a system to have high quality content for our clients at a very, very low price that, I mean, it's cheaper than being able to hire anybody with a cell phone, even part-time. So like if you look at it, like our lowest product or our lowest subscription is $6,000 annually. I don't know anybody that could work for that low, but we've created a system that we can be profitable through that and really help our clients. And so we're kind of taking that first step forward by saying, you know what, screw the system, screw what's been going on. I'm tired of seeing people like all these companies, and it's not really a bash on them, but it's like, why aren't people just saying, hey, I'm willing to work a little bit harder and gain the trust of a client and have them consistently versus like, I want to make that one job really big, take all, and look, there's really talented people out there, really good companies out there that definitely know what they're doing. Yeah. But a small business, especially a micro business, cannot afford to consistently do that. Right. And these days, that's going to be the most effective approach. Yeah. And so where we don't really focus on virality, we focus on really helping that client get more business in. Yeah. So,
how do you work-life balance?
What do you mean balance? What is that? I honestly like that has always been the biggest struggle because I do love what I do. And it's not out of the like, man, I just so enjoy this. Because trust me, I don't enjoy staying up till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, almost 7 days a week, grinding out these things, even with employees, with several employees, because you got to go check their work. And, like I said before, that's one of the hardest struggles is because you're trying to train somebody up to say like, hey, this is a standard. And I believe it's a pretty easy standard to meet. me, but I also have to be a realist and realize that like I've been doing this for a very long time. And so what seems very simple and easy to me, because it does, I'm like, I get this like frustrated mind, like, why isn't this why can't you do this? So simple. But I have to remind myself like, hey, be a little patient, because you would probably been the same way.
Are you LCD?
Yeah, 100%. But look, that is one thing that I had to confront myself with. I was like, okay, like at a certain point, your clients aren't paying you for that, right? Like, because I want everything to be like the biggest budget movie looking thing. But at the same time, that you have to ask yourself, is that actually going to convert for them? Yeah. Half the time, okay, not half the time, 99% of the time, it's not. What do people really want? And look, I'll say this to anybody who's looking, like if you're a small business, this is one of the things that we do for free, because we really do care, is we do free consultation. We really want people to recognize like, hey, what it takes to actually grow your business through this. It's not virality. If you got a bunch of kids that play Fortnite watching your video because you made it interesting, doesn't mean that they're going to convert over to a client. Yeah. Right. Or a customer or whatever it is. Now, if you're an influencer, that's a totally different story. Do whatever it takes to get as many views as possible, because that's where your money's coming through, is through views. But as a business, you really have to kind of think about those things. So I know, like, especially in like the real estate industry, and we have a lot of real estate agents, is like, it's really easy to get distracted with the shiny things. Like, oh my God, my videos are performing so well. It's like, so there's a balance. You want to have a balance between your views and a balance between like, what you're talking about business wise to get people interested, because, being I was a pastor for a couple of years, and our pastor used to say, he heard this from somewhere else too, but it's really, really good. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so in the influence world, where you are making it personal, people can really connect with you without you ever meeting them. And I'm not saying be fake, because you definitely don't want to do that, but you're essentially inviting people into your lives to a personal degree. Now be safe, right? Be safe. Don't be stupid. But you're inviting people into your lives to connect with you. And this is, especially since COVID, has been a really open door for us to be able to connect in that way. And I do feel like people have been very disconnected, because whether it is, just being used to staying locked in at your house, or getting really focused on business and growing, especially through this like really horrible economy that we're in right now, we're trying to be super focused, and we have a lot of issues that are set in place. So like, if you're an entrepreneur, you're like, oh God, I gotta work hard. If you're an employee, oh my God, I gotta work 3 jobs to be able to eat tonight, because 1 meal for a single person is like $15-$20, which is just absurd.
I don't even know what's cheaper, going to get groceries or buying food like at a restaurant. Like, oh yeah. It's all getting so high.
I was literally talking to my wife today, going like, okay, what can I do? Like, we need to get like a full Thanksgiving turkey, and I'm gonna bake that. I'm gonna eat that every day.
And does your wife actually talk like that?
No, that was me talking like that. That was me imitating myself.
If you can give someone wanting to be an entrepreneur any words of advice, what would you give them?
I would say that if you feel like you have a good idea, and if it is a good idea, look, don't get me wrong, like people can have really bad ideas and they could be stupid, and other people can be like, hey, you're stupid, don't do this. Like have some logic, some good reasoning behind it. But if you have a good idea and people start telling you like, it's not going to work, they can't see it, you're generally probably going to be on a good track. So trust your instincts. Yeah. I'm not saying like go all in and put your family at risk, or you can look at Elon Musk. He was like, hey, I'm going to take all the money I made from PayPal and I'm going to invest, this much into Tesla. I'm going to invest this much into Starlink. And then he goes like, and I'll have all this if it fails. He says, well, I don't want it to fail. So he invests everything into it. So like, there are certain risks that you're going to take. I mean, just the emotional sweat equity risk that you're going to take, because it takes a lot of work. So if I was going to give advice, if you're going to be in it, be in it, be wholeheartedly in it, because it's going to take some work. Now, my business has definitely grown way faster than I thought it would. And which is amazing blessing, but don't think that like this is a get rich quick scheme. because I will tell you, like, the more money I make, the more problems I have. Like they say, more money, more problems. It is absolutely true.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just that you have to be creative in how you're going to execute new problems. So just recognize that like, this isn't a one fix thing. This is like, you're either going to be passionate about it, you're either going to grind towards it, or you're not, because it doesn't end. It's like, how big do you really want it to be?
Yeah. And you have to fully commit. I think that's the issue with a lot of entrepreneurs is, oh, okay, yeah, hey, I've made a little bit here and there. Okay, I'm cool. I'm content where I'm at right there, right? Yeah. No, you got 100% commit. You can't just say, hey, 80% of my time is going to go into my business. No, it has to be all day grind.
It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's always something.
You know how it is, girl. You got all kinds of businesses.
Yes, tell me about it, guy. I'm just trying to stay afloat. That's it.
Yeah.
My last question to you.
I don't think I even answered the work-life balance thing. Like, to be honest, like
such a thing?
Yeah,
a thing?
That, I mean, I know how to respond, but look, if you have a family, it's obviously very important to spend time with your family. I watched a guy who's a multimillionaire giving advice. He's like, you got to sacrifice all those things. No, you don't. That's insane. That's insane. If you have kids, like, what's more important, money or your children?
Yeah, it's the time you can't get back.
Yeah. Like what, like, I don't know. I always kind of process things in a way, like what happens when this disaster happens or that disaster happens and your whole business goes down. Money is just money.
Right.
There has to be something bigger, especially us as Americans, to realize that like we live for more than just money. Money is an asset that we utilize for other things, right? Like I want more money so that I can spend more time with my kids and have the freedom to do the things with my family and my wife that I want to do.
Absolutely.
But money never comes over my family.
Yeah. I mean, you can always make money. That's the thing that I say. I actually preached this to my husband the other day. I was like, at the end of the day, my kids, whatever activities that they want to do comes first regardless. So if I have to hire somebody, put somebody in place to, take care of those responsibilities at work, I'm going to do that because I cannot get the time back with my kids. Yeah. And like they're my number one priority, Yeah. I can always make money, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in, flipping houses, whatever that looks like, there's always money to be made.
Your kids aren't going to be like, oh, thanks, Mom. You
exactly.
You made all this money for our household.
Exactly.
They're going to think
you weren't at that football.
You were never there.
You weren't there. Exactly.
Yeah, you weren't there. I mean, obviously, there's some sacrifices that you have to make. You can't be at everything if you're working hard. And like I was saying before, I work all the time. You know what it's like. You work all the time. Right. But you have to be really intentional. Just like you got to be intentional with your business and growing that, you have to be really intentional with how you spend time with your children. Yes. With your spouse. I know I keep saying children, but your spouse is even more important in my opinion. Yeah. I value her and I want to spend time with her and I want her to know that I actually care and love her. And I read this Christian sales book, which I thought was really, really good. Cause sales is like, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you better get good at sales. That's super crucial. Yeah. And so one of the things they said is like, if your home life isn't good, your sales life won't be good. Yeah. And it's true. Like the confidence changed. So like if I don't have things intact at home, it is really difficult not to be intact out there, And so that's one thing I will say, like I have the blessing of a wonderful wife that has helped me through hard times, even supported me through hard times and believed in me. It's funny because I prayed back in the day. It was like a side note here, guys, relationship stuff. I was like, God, I don't want a woman who wants me for my money. I didn't have any money at the time either, to be honest. And guess what? I didn't have no money when we got together. So she definitely didn't want for my money. So it is amazing because that was a hard lesson to learn, but God really turned around. I got a wonderful, beautiful, amazing wife who's smart and creative and all the things. So.
It plays a big role in the success of your business.
It does. You cannot sit there and fight with your spouse over and over. I definitely think that it's important for them to be with you because you could be like, you don't believe in me, forget you, and then just run off and like love
the voice.
Be a mature adult. Work things out. Yeah. Logic and reason. You're co-partners in this life together. That's the commitment that you make through that relationship. And so it's like, I was just blessed to have a wife to really like listen and hear the heart, which is a scary thing. Yeah. Especially because I was freelance before and I struggled. That's when I didn't have any money. I was working easily 16 to 18 hour days. I had some jobs where I didn't sleep for 3 days. I was working straight. Like it was insane. Definitely had some health problems, by the way, from that. That's where a lot of those health problems came, is bad diet, trying to work nonstop, no sleep. And, you know, so like it was a struggle. And so like, I'm thinking when I pitched this idea to my wife, oh, like I have to have an idea.
Yeah.
And I have to have a plan. So that business plan came in clutch when I'm telling my wife, like I didn't have it all together, but I'm like, this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
This is what I believe God's telling me. And this is how we're going to do it. And it's like something clicked. I've never had this before in my life. And I'd like to think that I had some pretty decent ideas in my life, but this one was like, it wasn't really my idea. And it's like, God spoke to me. He was like, this is what I want you to do. And I'm like, it was like this whole, like, what do you call that moment? That eureka moment? Yeah. Like, like, oh my gosh, this is crazy enough to work. And it's like, it's really simplistic. You know, it's a really simplistic idea. The thing that makes it so crazy is nobody's willing to do it.
Yeah.
We are.
You know, I'll say, it's kind of piggyback after what you were saying, is I don't think people realize whenever you're married and you have a family, your success, your partner plays a huge success in your business.
Yeah.
Like them having to hold down the house, whether it's financially, whether it's taking care of the kids, like you don't really realize how that responsibility contributes to how successful you are, because that gives you the opportunity to go out there and make the money, to build those relationships, to grow your business. Yeah. So shout out to my husband, since everybody's shouting out their partners. Shout out.
I will say, no, like we just did some videos for y'all with your husband and kids, and I was like, man, this dude's awesome. He really is though. Like he's such a great guy, and like you could see how much he loves and supports you through this.
He does.
And it like, you know, look, as a husband myself, like we're like, hey, we want to spend time with you, you know, like, and you know, that takes some sacrifice to let you go and do your thing. And that can be a difficult thing for a man. Yeah. And but it's also really awesome that he's like, hey, spread your wings and fly.
When I brought up the opportunity about doing the podcast, initially I thought he was going to be like, that's not really your personality, right? And so he was like,
it's totally your thing.
Yeah, he was like, heck yeah, let's do it. He was like, do it. He was like, I think it'll be great. Matter of fact, my husband came up with the name of the podcast, which is Under the Magnolia Tree.
Okay.
Being that I have Magnolia Soft Realty, he's like, man, that's a crazy name. He was like, I think you should run with it. And it's like, initially I was like, boom, that's it. Yeah. I was like, I love it. So yeah, he's like my little secret partner in the background that kind of gives me like a lot of my ideas and kind of helps me like where I feel like I'm falling short. He's really, really smart. He's really not much like a people person, but he really definitely helps shift and help me mold any business that I've ever dabbled into. So, but yeah, I think family plays a huge role in the success of our businesses. So shout out to our families for that.
That's right.
But thank you, Eric.
All right. No, we're going to do high five. We do high fives here.
Okay.
I know it's your show, but we're doing high fives. There we go. Boom.